In this video, I'm gonna show you how to get started buying rental properties with no money out of pocket. Coming up. What's up, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs. Welcome to another video. Listen, recently, I've been talking a lot about passive income streams. I've been talking about the BRRRR strategy. I've been talking about buying rental properties. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this is, in my humblest opinion, how you build real wealth in real estate. I always say, active income is not as great as passive income. Wholesaling is not as great as buying and holding. Wholesaling has a purpose, but holding on to properties has a greater purpose, which will allow you to build that time and freedom that you truly want out of this business. Now, I'm not saying not to go out there and wholesale houses. In fact, I encourage you to wholesale houses to build up active income. And if you haven't had a chance already, go ahead and check out my link in the description box below or in the cards up at the top, where I'm gonna provide you with access to my wholesaling playlist. Wholesaling is gonna allow you to get the money that you need in order to be able to do other things in real estate. So you definitely wanna be wholesaling in addition to buying rental properties. But in this video, I wanna go over some real numbers. Recently, I purchased a property. In fact, I'm gonna be closing on it in a couple of days. And this morning, I just signed a contract. Well, I'm actually contracting a property on another rental property that I plan on holding on to. So I actually wanted to go over these numbers so that you could get a clearer understanding of how to work the numbers so that you can get involved in these deals with no money out of pocket. And the reason I wanted to put this video together, again, primarily is because someone actually contacted me about working the numbers on these particular deals. So in this video, I'm gonna go over two separate deals. I'm gonna explain the numbers. I'm gonna explain how I got involved with no money out of pocket, and I'm gonna show you how you can do it as well. Now, just a small caveat. When I say no money out of pocket, that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't come to the table with some money. When I say no money out of pocket, that means when it's all said and done and I own the property long term, I have $0 or close to nothing into the deal. So my return on my investment is infinite. All right, so the first deal we're gonna talk about here is a property here in Greensboro on Cone Boulevard that I'm actually closing on in a couple of days. The purchase price on this was initially $75,000, but after I walked through the property and we worked the numbers out, we found out it needed a little more work than anticipated. So yesterday I got a price drop down to $73,000. So one key tip you don't want to overlook is don't be afraid to renegotiate your contracts with sellers, because at the end of the day, sellers want to sell properties, but it has to make sense for you financially to be able to do it as well. So the purchase price on this is now officially $73,000. After walking through the property, I believe we can get it done for right around $12,000. If it's a little north or a little south of that, you know, give and take is gonna be about $12,000. It's not really gonna hurt the deal at all right? The cost on this, and when I say cost, I'm talking about the cost of the money that I'm borrowing to be able to buy this deal. I'm taking out private funds. So whether you're doing private funds or hard money, it's gonna cost you some money based off of the relationship that you have with your lender. In this case, it's gonna cost me 2.5% in points up front. 2.5 points up front, 2.5%. When I say points, I'm talking about percent. Okay, so that means if it was a $100,000 loan, 2.5 points would be $2,500, or 2.5% would be $2,500. Okay, so just so you know what I'm talking about as we go on, keep in mind that points and percent is the same exact thing. So in this case, I'm paying 2.5 points, which is $2,125. And I factored in a higher closing cost. So all in with closing costs, I'll be right around $3,500 on this particular deal. Now, I have interest-only payments at about 11%. So an interest-only payment basically means that I'm paying interest on a property for as long as I have the money out. Usually that's amortized over the course of a year. So if I take out my calculator and I wanted to crunch the numbers, basically on an $85,000 loan, how did I come up with $85,000? Simple, $73,000 plus the $12,000 to rehab the house. That's how I came up with $85,000. I'm going to multiply that by 0.11, which is 11%, and that leaves me at $9,350. If I divide that by 12, I'm at $779.16 per month. So at the end of the day, I rounded it up to $780 per month. So that's my interest only payment. So as long as I have this money out, as long as I own this loan and I own this property, I'll be paying $780 per month to this lender. Now, we're projecting a 6-week rehab. So in that case, this $780 is going to turn into 2 payments. But in addition to that, we have to season the loan. The lender that I'm going to use allows me to refinance after having the tenant in there for at least 3 months. Okay, so we're basically going to do a 6-week rehab, get the tenant in there, and then season the loan for another 2 months. So at $780 per month times 4 months, we're at $3,116.66. $3,116.66. So all in will be right around $3,166 plus $85,000 plus the $3,500. We're actually in a little higher than this number right here. We're in $91,616. $91,616. So that's going to obviously affect all of those numbers below. The way that I work these numbers out, I didn't have this number on here. All right, so that's how we came to the $90,600. In fact, we're actually going to make up for it down below, and you're going to see why. Okay, so total without these extra 2 months, we're in at $90,600. Now, I had a a future value appraisal done. If you're following me on Instagram, you'll see that I put out additional content in addition to my YouTube channel. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you follow me at Jamel Gibbs. But on one of my stories, I actually showed that I got a future value appraisal on a property, and that appraisal came in at $120,000. So that means all in, I'm purchasing a $120,000 future valued appraisal after we put 12 grand into it for $73,000. Okay, there's a huge equity spread there, about $50,000, right? Now, when I go to refinance, once I'm done with the rehab, I'm gonna rent the property out for more money. This particular property, we're gonna get about $850 a month for it, $850 per month. Even if I rented it at $850 per month, I'm still gonna be covered on this payment. But we're not gonna keep that payment. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna get rid of that payment, that $780 per month is gonna be a lot lower than that and provide us with more cash flow. So I'm all into the property at $90,600 at this point, not counting the extra 2 months, okay? I know the property is gonna be worth $120,000 once we're done with the rehab. And I have a lender, a portfolio lender, or a small local bank that I can go to and pull 80% of the $120,000 out. Now, I've covered this before on a previous video where I was talking about the BRRRR strategy. I'm gonna make sure I link that in the cards up at the top for you. Make sure you watch that video and all of these numbers will make sense for you. But I know that I'm gonna be able to get a small local bank or a portfolio lender to give me 80% on a refi cash out, which is gonna leave me with $96,000 into the deal. You following me so far? So $96,000 is, if I'm doing my math right, is more than $90,600, right? It's several $1,000s more, about $5,400 more than the $90,000 I have into the deal. Now, even if we factored in these other 2 payments that I didn't account for, we're talking about another $1,500. So really, we'll be all in and still be able to cash out on the deal at $1,500 less. So it'd be $5,400. It'd be right around $3,900, okay? But we're not gonna factor that in just yet, because when we refi cash out, we're gonna have closing costs as well. We're gonna factor that in at about $1,500. And then the cash out, after it's all set and done, is gonna be $2,340. And even if I were to pay the extra 2 months in interest, which I'm actually gonna recoup because I'm gonna rent the property out, that's why I'm not counting this, would still be in a positive of close to $850. But since I'm gonna rent the property for $850, these 2 payments don't count, okay? I'm actually gonna be in a positive on them by a little bit of money, okay? And then when I go out and I pull out a loan on this property at 80% LTV, you can do the math. Pull up a mortgage calculator on Google right now. You can do the math with me. You'll see that at $96,000, assuming that I'm gonna get a 4% interest rate, right? Assuming I get a 4% interest rate, I'll be right around $460 plus taxes and insurance, right around $600 on a payment. Now I know I'm gonna rent this property all day long for $850, and that's on a low end. So the difference between $800 and a $600 payment means that I'm gonna make a $250 per month cash flow for as long as I own this property. And that $250 can pay for a cell phone bill, it can pay for my water bill at home, it can pay for my electric, it can pay for something. The whole point is I don't have to work for this money, and it's gonna come to me every single month for as long as I own this property, okay? So not only do I have all the money that I put into the property back out of it when I refinance for the $96,000, remember that $96,000 covered everything that was into the property here, right? Not only will I be able to pull a little bit of cash out of the property, and guess what? This cash that I'm pulling out of the property is tax-free money, because you can't get taxed on a loan, my friends. You can't get taxed on a loan. So this is tax-free dollars, right? But I'm also gonna be able to collect $250 per month for as long as I own that one property, assuming I get the 4% interest rate. So that's just an example of one deal that I'm working on right now. And over the next few weeks, once we start the rehab and everything like that, I am gonna be walking you guys through these properties and showing you in real time how this stuff actually works. I am gonna revisit these numbers. They might change slightly. The rehab costs might go up. It might actually come down a little bit. The whole point is I'm gonna show you guys, walk you through step by step in real time, in real life on this deal, and show you how it ends up. Okay, I'm gonna show you the real numbers. So make sure, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe right now, okay? And follow this process. I'm gonna put it all under my BRRRR playlist, BRRRR playlist. Check my channel, you'll be able to get access to that. So that's one deal that we're talking about today. The next one is of a deal that I literally picked up this week. In fact, it was just the other day, a guy contacted me. He was a wholesaler, contacted me about this deal. He said, I got a great deal in Winston-Salem on Stockton Street. Normally, I don't like to travel out that far to rent properties because it's about 25, 30 minutes from where I live. But this is a killer deal, so I had to hold on to it. And this is in an area where I can rent this out Airbnb and make a lot more money on it as well. So one key tip when it comes to Airbnb, always buy your Airbnb properties as if you're gonna rent the property out on a normal rental market, okay? Always do that, because then you have options. You can either rent the property or you can go ahead and Airbnb it and make a whole lot more money, all right? So let's work out these numbers on this Stockton Street deal. Now, I just made this offer today. The guy was asking $68,000. I offered him full asking price. I'm waiting on the contract. So I don't necessarily have this under contract. I don't have a closing date on this. The other one, I actually have a closing date this week, all right? This one, I'm waiting on it. I offered him full asking price. I'm hoping to get this deal. But using this deal as an example, I walked through the house today. I see that the property needs about $70,000 in work. One thing I want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to wholesaling, you don't necessarily need to see these houses, right? It's a good idea to get into the property, to see the properties at least one time, but you don't necessarily need to see a wholesale deal. When you're doing fix and flips, and when you're buying rental properties, you need to see these properties. You need to drive the comps so you can have an understanding of what the property is all about. Because a wholesaler or a realtor can tell you anything. You want to verify these numbers, especially when you're going to have $140,000 tied into a deal. And if it's not your money, you especially need to take care of making sure that you do your due diligence. All right. So if you're going to have money involved in a deal, make sure you do your due diligence. Go ahead and see the houses. You heard me say it before. I'm sure you've heard others say it. You know, I don't necessarily go out and see houses. That's only when I'm wholesaling houses. If I'm holding on to a house, you better believe I'm going to do some due diligence, especially when I'm involving other people's money into the deal. All right. So look, $68,000 purchase price. I'm assuming I worked out all of the numbers, assuming I go in and gut the entire place out down to the studs and put everything back in, I'm going to be at around $70,000 in rehab. My cost on this deal, remember I told you what the cost was, right? It's the cost of the money, meaning the interest, the points up front, plus the closing cost is going to be right around $5,000, okay? My interest only payments is going to be $1,285 if I round it up. $1,285. I'm assuming a 12-week rehab on this one, 3 months. So that means that that's going to be right around $3,850. But in this case, I added in an additional month because after we get the tenant in there and things like that, then we'll be able to go ahead and refi cash out. And I'll be right around $5,133 and some change, probably right around 33 cents. All right, so look, all in, I'm going to be at right around $150,133 on this deal, right? $150,133. Now, I haven't done a future value appraisal on this because I don't have it under contract yet. But I did run comparable sales. Literally on the same street, a house just sold for $280,000. That one is a 4-bedroom house. This one is a 3. So you really can't compare apples to apples. But I can add an additional bedroom into this house. Okay, so $280,000. Let's say I take off 30 grand off of that. All right, there's another house literally up the street and around the corner that sold for $230,000. So let's say I come in even lower than that, right? Just to lowball my numbers, let's say I wanted to come in right around $225,000, right? So that's exactly what I got here. I believe this property is worth between $225 and $250 grand. 80% of that, remember, I can go into a local bank or a portfolio lender and get 80% of that, which is $180,000 I can pull out of this house. Remember, I'm going to be all into this thing for $150,000. So that gives me a difference of $30,000 in tax-free money that I could pull out of this house and do something else with the money. I could go buy another house, create even more cash flow when I cash out. Right? So at $180,000, if you have your mortgage calculator, let's do the math. Right? $180,000. Right? You can see it right there, $180,000 at 4% interest. Right? If I work the numbers at 4% interest over a 30-year time frame, I'm at $859 per month on my new loan. Okay? $859 per month. Plus taxes and insurance, let's just say I come in at a cool $1,000 per month. I know for a fact I can rent this property for an easy $1,300 per month on a low end. So if I do $1,000 per month off of my new loan, plus I rent it for $1,300, that's a $300 cash flow every single month. So not only do I get involved in a deal with no money out of pocket, this loan, this $180 takes care of the $150. So I might come out of pocket a little bit up front, but I get all of my money back when I refinance, right? Not only am I able to be involved in a deal with no money, but I'll get $30,000, close to $30,000, because I'm sure there's going to be some additional costs. Close to $30,000 in tax-free money up front. Then I'm going to get $300 a month for as long as I own this property. There's nothing else better than real estate, guys. Let me tell y'all this, man. Where else can you go and create positive cash flow in the amount of $300 per month on one property? Pull out tax-free money and be involved in a deal with none of your own money out of pocket. I don't know of a better investment than real estate. I just showed you two deals that's going to create $550 per month for me in cash flow, and allow me an additional $30,000+ that I'm able to pull out of these properties with no money involved in the deal, using other people's money. You know, I'm convinced that real estate investing, after 20 years of doing this, real estate is the best investment there is. And I believe that each and every single one of you, if you focus on real estate investing, buying rental properties, the way I just showed you, for the next 3 to 5 years, you'll have more passive income than you have expenses. You'll be able to retire young, retire wealthy, do what you want, spend time with your family, create that real time and freedom through the passive income that real estate provides. Look, I hope you guys are paying attention. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but more importantly, I hope you guys get out there and take massive action in order to get massive results. And one more thing that I forgot to mention, I can also Airbnb this property. I talked about it a little bit earlier. If I do Airbnb this property, guess what? I'm gonna make 3 to 4 times that amount, the $1,300 or more. So the whole point is, when you control real estate, when you own real estate in this way, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of money to be made, and it can absolutely change your life. So with that being said, make sure you follow my journey. I'm gonna show you these two properties in real time, in real life. If I get this deal, I'll walk you through it. I'm definitely gonna walk you through the other deal. But in order for you to see that, you gotta subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you're looking forward to. Let me know what types of deals you're doing, what you need help with right now. I'll be happy to help you out with those. But go ahead, again, subscribe, click the notification bell, share this video with your family and friends, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.